Are you ready, sir?
Yeah, let's give it a run.
Darts, we're ready. They're out. Welcome to it here. It is 2022. Happy New Year, everybody.
Happy New Year, yeah.
And I hope the holidays and everything went well for you. Hopefully you got some bloodshot ice from watching all the sports and everything else. It was busy. I'm gonna start it off by talking about darts. Okay, I haven't mentioned darts the whole time.
No, I saw you watching it the other day.
I was watching it. I haven't mentioned it, but the World Championship match was on Monday afternoon, and a guy named Peter Wright, and you should look up Peter Wright online. He must be bald, and then he tacks a mohawk, painted different colors, and then he's got a snake wrapped around his head, like a tattoo that he can change every day. Anyway, his nickname is Snakebite. So Snakebite Peter Wright. Anyway, he was the champion in 2020. He won again. It was a great match. The finals.
He could come up for Athlete of the Year with a hairdo like that.
He's 51 years old, so he's right in my wheelhouse.
Yeah.
And he's out there at darts. He won. Eli was watching with me at the end. He came out of came out of basketball practice, and I said, Peter Wright's just about ready to win. And so he said, how much money does he win? He wins 500,000 pounds because it's in England more.
500,000.
500,000 pounds. That comes up to $675,000, folks. So Eli asked me, how many Ferraris can you buy with $675,000? So I told him, if you buy one that's not decked out, you can buy one.
Yes.
Excuse me, buy two. But if you buy one that's decked out, you spent all of that. Because he wanted to know if Peter Wright had a sports car. And I'm like, no, if you win 675 grand, yeah, you probably have a sports car.
Well, I tell you what he has that's more important than that at this point in time. Contracts.
Oh.
He is doing advertisement. I mean, I can just see him in England, shirts, back, television. I mean, it's all there for somebody that has that kind of charisma. It's amazing. Athletes with charisma are amazing.
Yeah, and he's got a persona, like I said, and the people, Yeah. So anyway, darts was awesome. Look up Peter Wright, again, two-time champion, and it's a 3-week thing for me, folks. I get my fix. I don't have to watch darts again until next December, but it's enjoyable. And anyway.
See, like she has a cheese head over there.
Why would she be offering that?
Well, and then she would say,
is she a Packer fan?
No, somebody would say, how do you know when
you in Green Bay? Were you at the game? You were at the game. Wow.
How do you know when you
and you just dug a hole and hid? Oh, well, you stood up and piled things up. So.
What they say about the
Packers fan.
No. How do you know when you have it on right? How do you have it straight? When is it straight?
And the other thing is, somebody might get a picture of you with it on, and that's incriminating evidence. With a cheese head on.
Yes, that's true.
Well, as long as it's brought up,
let's bring it up.
Let's talk about the Vikes.
Let's do that. In the next couple of weeks, if we see Spielman, or if we see Zimmerman, or if we see Cousins, and I think that the other one's a given.
That what?
Their offensive coordinator.
Oh, Clint Kubiak. Well, yeah, if they get a new coach.
Yeah.
I'll say it this way. If Zimmer is the head coach, Clint Kubiak is not the offensive coordinator again.
That's what I was trying to say,
They're on divergent paths. Kubiak is a Kubiak. He wants to run the football, but apparently does not want to run the football as much as Mike Zimmer wants to run the football.
They like to run. Well, I don't blame them.
I don't mind the running thing, but and hear me all the way out on this. I didn't watch a whole lot of the game on Sunday night, A, because it was a Sunday night game, and B, without Cousins and a lot of the other personnel.
You were afraid of getting sick.
I knew how bad it was going to be, so I had it on in the background, but Eli and I were doing stuff, and then I went to bed. But I'll say this. He came on Monday morning on the cuts and said, we gave up on the run too easily. Well, they couldn't run the football.
No.
So the week before he complained that we were always behind the sticks. Well, when you tell me that you're behind the sticks and it's 2nd and 12, that means you lost 2 yards on first down on the run. So to me, he's gotten too obstinate about sticking with the run. Sometimes you got to throw the ball first to be able to run the ball.
Well, as a comparison, I want to bring up Tennessee because they come out, they are basically, and if you said at the beginning of this year, what kind of team are they? They are a running team. And then Henry went down. What are they? Well, they're still a running team, and they're still first choice to make it to the Super Bowl. Yeah. And so it's just like you see this, and you just think, you can still run that football. And in fact, I love running the football, especially if you have drive blockers. But without a passing attack, your running attack suffers. You know, and you have to have them both.
I watched Big Ben on Monday night, and I don't like the Steelers, and I don't really like Big Ben particularly, but you know, it's a story. It's a thing.
It is.
And Monday night I had a basketball game on the radio, and so I get home, and you know, you're a little wound up because that's how it is when you're on the air. And I had to watch. I wanted to go to bed, but I had to see the last play. I had to see him walk off the field. I had to see him walk around the stadium. And so you look at that game, he threw the ball 46 times for like 140 yards, 145 yards. Holy crap, if Kirk Cousins did that and we won, they would be throwing him under the bus. Oh, he threw it 46 times.
And I got to tell you, but you know, I want to talk about exactly that. Josh Allen, how many passes did he throw? You know, like he got 6 yards passing. He scored 2 touchdowns on a rush, 2 interceptions. Maybe that's why they didn't throw him the ball. And they're on a 3-game win streak.
Yeah, well, I guess the point I'm trying to make with the Vikings is Zimmer is this: we have to run the ball first, and that is the wrong attitude. You can throw the ball first and run later. You can play the game that way.
Especially when you have somebody like Jefferson to throw to. Well, you have a premier receiver and actually a couple of them.
So I don't know. I've been here preaching all year. I've been telling everybody all season, firing Zimmer in the middle of the season is not the right thing to do. Right now, I think he has to be replaced.
Well, I think he has to be replaced too, but the fact of it is they're going to be hard-pressed to find a coach in terms of the X's and O's as good as he is.
Yeah, I think defensively, I think the X's and O's are there. I definitely think that there's so much experience there.
Yeah.
It'll be interesting to see who they can find. I know a lot of people are out there saying Spielman's got to go. I'm not quite understanding. They're saying draft picks haven't panned out. Well, how many draft picks? What are we talking about?
They just haven't had that many, and you know.
Is Darisaw a bust? Because whatever is Garrett the center? I can't think of his last name. Bradbury. Is he a bust?
Are you kidding? He was leading rusher in the football team last week.
Is Brian O'Neill a bust?
No.
You know, we've got these first round draft picks. You know, sometimes guys change, things change, whatever. I don't quite understand the Spielman. He drafted Justin Jefferson. You know,
what was the matter with that?
What was wrong with that? You know, so he's this whole thing is he's got to go. I don't know if I necessarily buy that. It might be okay if he does, but
I'm just thinking
getting rid of the Kirk Cousins thing is still puzzling me because, you know, our good friend Mike Bolstead says he's got puppy dog eyes. He doesn't have killer eyes. Well, that may be true. Tell me who you're going to bring in. I want to know if you're going to let Kirk Cousins go. Who are you bringing in? Who is this big free agent?
Kenny Stabler had bloodshot eyes. It doesn't matter what kind of eyes you have. It's you know, you gotta let these guys go. And he is, I mean, playing quarterback on a professional football team is a matter of statistics. It is as simple as that. You know, and when they take a look at it, his numbers are incredible.
Well, so I'm going to go back to Ben Roethlisberger. So he spent all 17 seasons in Pittsburgh.
Yeah.
There were issues. We can go all the way back to 2007 or 8 when he got into the motorcycle accident and then the rape charge that got taken away and whether he did or didn't and all this other stuff. They had winning records. Never had a losing record. Okay, I understand that. But there were seasons when people wanted him to go away, and I'm just kind of like, why? What does a guy have to do? Okay, yes, he's won some Super Bowls, but he's also had some bad years, bad games. To me, he's too big, Ben. I mean, he's too large. He could
take 15 pounds off, but the fact of it is, he is he is a big man.
He's a big man.
And and that never really bothered me too much, but that cut down on his mobility.
I believe so.
Yeah. So I
want to go back to the point.
Yeah.
Who do you think you're going to get? Where? We just had a quarterback that spent 17 years. You just found out that Cleveland. I think Cleveland's ready to get rid of Baker Mayfield. Well, I mean, I don't like Baker Mayfield, but okay, who are you going to bring in? Who is this quarterback that you're going to bring in that's going to be so much better? After he had this great year, won a playoff game last year, and now you want to boot him?
Baker's out for next game anyway. But so that being said, let me ask you this: which NFL team out there is going to enthusiastically snatch up Antonio Brown?
Nobody.
He's done.
Nobody's going to touch that anymore.
You don't think so?
No way.
Okay.
Never. There's not a team out there. If Tom Brady can't control him, nobody can.
Yeah.
Tom Brady controlled Randy Moss. I thought nobody could control Randy Moss. If Antonio Brown cannot be calmed and found to do the right things with Tom Brady, he'll never do it with anybody. He's done. He'll never play another down in the league.
I watched the incident, and it really was pretty remarkable. And there were broadcasters saying in 40 years they'd never seen anything like that. Well, I've never seen anything like that either.
That's why he'll never play again.
And so it's just
no team is gonna. Nobody.
Yeah.
I was surprised when Tampa Bay brought him in, and I think Tampa Bay only brought him in because Tom Brady said,
"Let's give him a shot.
We can control him. I'll get him to fly straight. I can do it." And he couldn't, and that's one of the few players that Tom Brady hasn't been able to make work. And he's done. He's going to go do
such an amazing talent, and when you have a mental illness like this, it's just that overcomes
exactly
everything.
what it is. And to me, if the Tampa Bay Buccaneers or any NFL team couldn't get him the help he needs, how is he going to decide that he needs the help by himself?
Yeah.
I don't know who it's going to be that's going to talk to him, but he's multi-talented. But unfortunately, it's over unless things change.
And they'd have to change pretty drastically. I'm just wondering if there's some club out there saying, hey, we could use a wide receiver for the playoffs. And but that is like cutting your own throat. So
I think you're taking a chance of blowing the team up.
I would agree.
So what did you think of Aaron Rodgers on Sunday night?
He was incredible.
He was incredible.
Yeah. On the other hand, today they made mention of one of the electors of the most valuable player, and they says they aren't voting for Aaron Rodgers because he's a jerk. And people said, should we elect people on what their ability is or their personality? But I think that Aaron Rodgers crossed some lines this year with football fans, and people are looking upon him as you're talented, but you're a jerk, and it's he doesn't seem to care, and they don't either.
So your good friend and my good friend Dwayne says he hopes that Green Bay wins the Super Bowl because that means Aaron Rodgers will retire. Do you believe that?
No.
Do you believe he's going to retire if they don't win the Super Bowl?
He won't be playing for Green Bay next year.
Okay. That was the next answer I was fishing for.
Yeah.
Who could use a quarterback that talented?
Oh, yeah. And I mean, these days they take a look at Brady and all of a sudden they're saying, hey, he's relatively young.
No, he's old.
He's old. And again, it's one of those things where, earlier this year he was COVID infected and he couldn't play a game, and Green Bay lost the game. And this one was, and whether or not Cousins has this coming or not, I don't know the particulars, but he wasn't there and they lost the game. The way it was working out that I could see it, they weren't going to win that game with Kirk Cousins.
Yeah, I agree. I don't think they would have won it with Kirk Cousins, and now it just been
Green Bay's defense is really good.
Yeah, and everybody says they're not very good.
Yeah.
But geez, they keep every week they come out. So did you watch the second half? I'm asking.
Yes.
Okay. So
as long as I could, I was wandering.
So Mannion
yes.
was the starting quarterback, Sean Mannion.
Yes.
They brought Kellen Mond into the game. Were you watching at that point?
Yes.
Did he do poorly?
Well, I didn't think Mannion. I didn't think.
No. Mond. Kellen Mond. When they brought him in, did he do? Because he only came in and then they yanked him back out.
I don't know what was going on with that, but I'm going to tell you about Kellen Mond, and I remember him in college. He's one of those multi-talented quarterbacks that you hear tell about. He can move around back there. And
I get the impression that Mike Zimmer does not like him.
Oh, well, that could be.
These are another one of these draft picks that Spielman got in Mond was in the third round or the fourth or third round, I think. And one of the cuts that I didn't play on the air on Monday morning was, what about Kellen Mond, and are you going to play him next week so that you can see him? And he says, I see him in practice every day.
Yeah.
Well, that answer to me means I don't like Kellen Mond.
I'm not going to see him.
I don't trust him as far as I can throw him. He's not ready. Now, whether he likes him or he's not ready, I don't know. But it's an interesting because Zimmer. Yeah.
No, but I have to say one thing about Mannion. I thought he played, considering the circumstances, pretty well. And it's just, last week he was just a, regular slob, and now he's starting quarterback for the Minnesota Vikings in Lambeau Field for a potential playoff spot. That's a lot to happen in a short period of time, and I thought he handled it pretty well. The running backs, they ran all three of them, but they just couldn't get a break. And like I say, Bradbury picked up a block pass and ran it, and he was leading rusher. Leading receiver for the team. It's just like that actually shouldn't be.
No, it was a sign of the times, and it'll be interesting to see how this all plays out. I suspect by the time we do our next show that the Vikings will be looking for a new coach.
I just as long as we're at the football thing,
yeah.
I watched Dallas.
Yeah.
And who's they played up? They lost to.
Arizona.
There it is, right there, Arizona.
So it's on replay over on the.
Okay, and you will take a look at number 11.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Micah Parsons.
I'm telling you, he is a monster, and he is so fast back there. They have him playing. Well, they have him. He's deeper than ordinary. And he just runs them down.
Somebody said I'm not ready to call him Lawrence Taylor. I'm ready to call him Lawrence Taylor. I mean, Lawrence Taylor might be the best rush defensive end of all time / linebacker.
Yeah.
He's that type of talented. Now, obviously, he's got to play for another 8-9 years.
He's a rookie.
To get to there, but he can get to that point. So. I just got to check my phone. So we got all kinds of things going on. So
but we is from Penn State, so we got to see him for he played for 2 years there and then break loose.
3 years.
3 years did he go?
Junior.
Okay. But anyway, this kid's a beast. He's going to be fun to watch for a long time, and he is no small factor in the success of this Cowboy team.
I agree. He's a big part.
I think he's on COVID protocols now.
Oh, I did not know that.
Yeah, he might not be playing.
Well, Kirk Cousins is off of COVID protocols, and he is scheduled to start.
Okay.
That's what the Vikings have announced, that he will start Sunday against the Bears. So.
Where did they find 2 more offensive linemen?
They got O'Neal back today.
Okay.
They announced that O'Neal is back, came off of COVID.
Well, they had lost 4 of those offensive linemen.
Jeez, we can't wonder why we can't run the football. It doesn't have anything to do with the linemen.
No.
It's because of the quarterback that we couldn't run the ball.
Yeah.
That's the reason. Anyway, sarcasm. Sorry, folks.
It's all right.
Anything else NFL-wise?
Let me see here. No. I have that. That Baker Mayfield will be out the last game, and the Vikings had 7 players on COVID. One thing is, COVID seems to be beating everybody else up. They're winning championships in every league, and it's amazing for what a team manager must have to do to put somebody on the thing.
Give me your prediction. Who comes out of the AFC for the Super Bowl? I know not all the teams are in. Nothing's official, But I don't think anybody 6 or 7 can win it. That's just my opinion.
No, I don't think so either.
Okay,
Right now, I have to go with Tennessee.
You're going to go Tennessee?
Yeah.
I'm going to go chalk, as Mike Bolstead would like to say. I'm going Kansas City. Even though they lost to Cincinnati, I still think it's the Chiefs. I think it's still there. It could. I don't know who it's going to be. Could be Tennessee. Could be New England. Could be Buffalo.
No, I watched Cincinnati play. They've got a pretty explosive football team, and this Joe Burrow kid, he can hit some.
He's got a good knee. His knee's all fixed up, and now he can. Yeah.
Throw for 500 yards a game. I mean, the kid's good.
Apparently, Jamar Chase is a pretty good receiver as well.
He is not bad.
Not too shabby.
Yeah.
Okay, so who's coming out of the NFC?
Jeez. Well, I don't see another team right now. I don't see another team that can beat Green Bay.
Okay. I agree that they are at home. That is going to be an advantage to them, but I don't think the Packers make it through. They'll win that first divisional game, but they lose the conference championship again at home to whoever it is, whether it's the Rams or Dallas or Arizona or Tampa. I don't know. I'm so torn. Obviously, Tampa's been there before. They got the GOAT. They got the greatest of all time. That gives them an advantage. That gives them an edge to go in to any place and win. But
I don't think that I'm not sure that Tampa is the team that they were a year ago. They've lost a number of things. I don't think Winfield is playing for one.
Well, their defense has not been as good. And they only beat the Jets 28-24 last week, everybody, and they had to do it with a touchdown in the final minute.
And Los Angeles, I thought that Big Matt would be, at this point in time, really kind of putting the crush on. And Los Angeles struggles, even with my friend Aaron Donald. They have some issues, even with Cooper. I mean, Jesus, they got some incredible talent on that football team.
Yeah, it's gonna be a fun NFC. Well, they're both gonna be fun. Both conferences are gonna be fun to watch. So. All right.
Okay.
What do you want to talk about next?
We could talk about some college football.
Yeah. What about college football?
My predictions last week were in the tank. Just absolutely, I wasn't even close. And and so then I get a message from a friend of mine, and he says, "You lost a bet in the Army-Navy game? I can't believe you did that." And this is weeks ago, and of course he does that to come back to rush me. Bam, there you go. So no, I haven't been picking well.
I do want to give myself a pat on the back because I did say Alabama by at least 21 points.
Yeah.
And they won by 21
points.
So I felt pretty good about that. Georgia was more convincing than I thought they would be over Michigan.
They beat Michigan up, and it just there was no way around it. And
speed kills.
It certainly does. And and football really hasn't changed. If you can make the edge, you're going to break once in a while for long yards, and they do that. How many?
So is this quarterback, I can't remember his name right now, from Georgia, starts with an S.
Yeah.
Is he Kirk Cousins or what?
Well, he might be, but
nobody likes him, but by God, that son of a gun wins.
Well,
because it helps to have great talent around.
Like is a relative term. You do you like that guy? No, he's a jerk, but I love him.
Yeah, so.
I've had people say that to me all the time.
We have to make our prediction off that game. So Georgia, Alabama for the national championship. Who are you taking?
This is really a difficult one because you take a look and Georgia's already beaten them, and
Alabama's already beat Georgia.
And to do that twice is a real bear, especially teams at that level. On the other hand, I mean...
You don't want to bet against Saban?
No, it's hard to bet against Saban, too.
I said this...
I think Georgia's...
People think I'm nuts. I said this a month ago.
Yeah.
Georgia lost that game in the SEC championship so that this game would occur.
Yeah, that might be.
I'll probably go to my grave believing that, and Georgia wins this game.
I think Georgia's going to win this game, too.
And the score is going to end up about 31-30, 33-30.
Well, and you take a look, like they have all these all-conference defensive tackles and defensive linemen, and on the offensive line, they're even better. And it's just like when you have this kind of talent, not that Alabama, they're not schmucks over there, but I watched that Georgia team just demolish Michigan, and they were a very talented football team.
So.
And it's just.
I think the score is higher. I mean,
yeah.
But I think it stays close. I think it's going to be a very good ball game in my mind. But again, I give Georgia the edge. I'm not going to go back on that. I've been saying Georgia all year. I will stick with that selection.
Well, besides, they're Bulldogs, and all Bulldogs are related somewhere along the
somehow, some way.
heredity line.
Where was I going to go with this? Yeah, the defenses, as good as the defenses are, I think the offenses could be better. I mean, and make plays happen. So, I think it's going to be a great ball game. I hope to get home to watch the second half.
Well, I hope you do too.
I got a basketball game first.
Well,
I got to get taken care of.
I understand that.
So you want to talk about the other national championship game on Saturday? Montana State,
North Dakota State. That's going to be a great game.
I think so.
Yeah. And they're playing this in Montana, I believe, aren't they?
Oh, they're playing this one in Frisco, Texas.
Oh, Frisco, that's right. So well, then maybe they'll avoid snowstorms and such.
Should.
And that will make a difference. But that NDSU, they get better as the season goes on. And not that they lose a lot of football games, they simply don't. But they get harder to beat. And it's
Randy Anderson told me about the quarterback for Montana State, and I think you did as well, that he's just a true freshman. And very, very good. So I look forward to watching a little bit of that on Saturday. It starts at just a little after 11 a.m. And then after that, they got 2 NFL football games on ESPN. So nice triple header of football to sit down and watch because, I got a hockey game in the morning. I got to go drive over to Baudette to watch Eli play hockey.
Well, that's right.
And then watch a little bit of the football game, then do the girls' hockey game, and then maybe sit down and watch some football because the Bronco boys hockey team had their 2 games this week postponed. They're dealing with. Nobody's saying for sure. I heard that one kid had tested positive for COVID. And of course, they spent 2 nights together in a hotel last week over in War Road. So lots of kids sick. They haven't practiced this week. So we'll see what that does for the Broncos. And maybe next week they can get back to play. See what happens.
Well, we do have this COVID. And like I said, the COVID seems to be winning.
What do you think of Ohio State and Utah in the Rose Bowl?
Well, it was a great game, and what are you saying, that you were pulling for Ohio State? I suppose. Yeah,
it was a Big Ten thing. I agree. I know some people out there and would be very disappointed that I was cheering for Ohio State.
Oh no,
I was cheering for the Big Ten. To me,
I was too.
I cheered for the Chiefs.
Besides, we went. We went years where the Big Ten didn't win diddly out there, and the West Coast did, and we used to say to Michigan, "Gee, give us a chance, maybe we'll win one." That I've been told that Rose Bowl in the evening is the most beautiful sight in football, and I have a tendency to agree.
Well, I hope that we'll get out there someday.
I hope so too.
Even when Ohio State was down 35 to 21 in halftime.
Yes.
I still believe that they were going to come back and win. I'm sitting at the UMB hockey game against Mankato State. We'll talk a little bit about that later. And so I'm doing this because I'm watching the football game, I'm watching the hockey game, and I never doubted that Ohio State was going to come back and win that game. It never even entered my mind that
they have a very good quarterback. They have 3 excellent wide receivers, and they have an offensive coordinator that designs incredible routes for these guys to run. Ohio State is really an explosive football team. They could hit you all the time.
347 yards receiving. That's not too shabby.
That's not too shabby.
By Mr. Smith.
No.
It seemed like every time I looked at my phone on a replay, it was number 11 catching the football.
Is that the same replay? Is that the replay?
No, it's a different one. That's a different. He was all over the place.
He was all over the place.
So I suspect that he could get drafted someday.
Yeah, I think he might. Yeah, I think that's true.
So, anything else from college football over the weekend?
The Gophers are starting to pick up next year's thing. They picked up a guy, Quinn Carroll. He's from Minnesota. He's coming from Notre Dame.
Why did he go to Notre Dame?
Why did he go to Notre Dame? Well, because I don't know. Maybe it's Notre Dame, and so he went there. But
you know what I found interesting in that article? I mean, if you're not going to say
no.
That in the Star Tribune today, they said that he's coming home. I read the article about him, and he was coming back because he's backup.
Yeah.
It blew an ACL 2 years ago and came back, and he was backup tackle to another kid from Minnesota.
Yeah, it was a year younger, and they knew each other. They were really good friends, and you know, so this happens, and he was doing special teams, and you know, and it says like we lost Ty Thompson, and for the very same thing. There is I feel bad about that, but as we know, having 7 running backs on scholarship is not too many.
Yeah, you know, I found his decision interesting. Kai Thomas leaving the Gophers, their leading rusher for the season. Mo Ibrahim's coming back. Obviously, he's the number 1 guy. He's going to get the first chance. Trey Potts, I don't think he's coming back. I don't. They say he's coming back. They say he's going to be ready, but they still won't disclose that injury, which makes me very afraid that he's not going to be there.
The word down in Minneapolis from my friends that it was a neurological hit in the head.
Okay.
And so
Kai Thomas was the number 4 running back this year.
Yes.
Who had the most yards. For him to pull the pin, I'm still stunned. I'm not sure what to make of it. Did he feel like he was not going to get a chance?
You know, kids when they're that young, maybe he's going to go to a school where his girlfriend goes. It's hard to say.
Closer to home.
Closer to whatever.
Maybe he's going to go to Alabama.
Yeah, wouldn't that be fun?
Or Clemson, or
as long as he stays away from the Big Ten, because this kid is capable.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
And so that's the part that disappoints me a little bit, but it's the way it is. It's the beast. It's how it's going to be. It's not going to change. So I need to get over it, and maybe in a couple of years, maybe in 2024, I'll be over it. Probably not, though.
No, and you know, and I'll tell you, the Gophers, they've got 2 people now if they can get Carroll back online, but they have John Michael Schultz, and he's the center, and so he's, you know, it's good to have a center returning. At least that brings some stability to that offensive line, and they're good because, you know, I don't know how you replace those mountains.
Well, usually you've got lots of mountains. Usually,
yeah, they do have a few.
You know, so they had guys who were coming in as 6th and 7th offensive linemen. You're hoping that you can plug some of those
6'7",
guys.
315. We just got to get some weight on them.
So, but, you know, I believe that they'll find enough guys to get the job done.
I think they will too.
And I have faith in PJ. You know.
Well, we got, you know, what do we got? We got Tanner Morgan, we got Ottman Bell, we got Dylan Wright at receivers, we've got Mike Brown Stevens, and we've got Span Ford. So there's some people here at a tight end. So they've got some people coming in. There's no 2 ways about it, but they're going to have to, say, like you say, throw the ball a little bit, and they got to get these receivers.
I think Shiraka will do that. I think they'll allow for that to happen.
I think so too.
Did you watch the Winter Classic? Did you watch any hockey on Saturday?
I did watch the Winter Classic, and like you said,
minus the final score, was it good? Was it good to Minnesota? Was the spectacle that deserves for the state of hockey?
36,000 people or something ridiculous? 38,000? I mean, you know, and I'll tell you, you would think, gee, this ice is really going to be hard and fast, and it is hard and fast. When you see guys that can really skate, they were zinging that rink, and they had, you know, it was a celebration, so they had hockey players and people in skates all over the place. They had 7 mini rinks that you could play hockey on, and you know, and so. They had a lot of kids down there that were running around and playing. I think the players were having a pretty good time. I'm not sure the coaches and the trainers were having that much fun. The fans were delirious. To sit out there 10 below, bundled up, screaming and shouting and drinking cold beer.
They paid $200 and some for a ticket.
Yeah.
Better enjoy it for that price.
Yeah.
I don't know if I would have gone.
No,
I'm too much of a wimp now.
I would have invested in Willie Long Johns. There's no 2 ways about it.
It would have taken something. So,
yeah.
So what's wrong with the Wild?
I see they're making some adjustments and bringing some new people in.
Rossi and Moldy coming in for the game tomorrow night in Boston.
And I think what they have to do right now, you know how your battery is just kind of a little bit dull and you throw in that charger and you give it that kickstart? That's what they're trying to do. And right now, when they're playing poorly, they're playing poorly.
And some people are going to look at this as an excuse, but when you're only playing once a week, or once every other week, it's a week and a half. It's not easy to be up to level. When St. Louis had that game 2 days before they played their Classic, I knew the Wild had to be in trouble.
Well, and also, you know, the Wild played a lot better in the third period. The first period, I wasn't sure that they were used to anything, and keep in mind, the Wild, they're leading the division.
We're leading the division. Can you believe they're tied for third now?
Tied for third, huh?
Tied for third with this 5-game. Of course, the Nashville Predators are in first place, but the Wild have got 4 games in hand, and they're 4 points back. So, St. Louis is in front of them now. Colorado is tied with them, so those are some of the heavyweights that we would be worried about.
Mid-season deals. They'll come out of this.
All the good teams have us soon. There's no doubt about that, and I hope that's all that it is. The coaching staff got their contracts extended and a lot of money added on to the end. Obviously, that shouldn't be affecting things, but Evison did say on the radio this morning, we worked hard yesterday, and we're going to work hard today, and then we're going to get on the plane, and we're going to go play a game. And so he said the only way to get out of a slump, work hard. Hard work.
There is no other way, but you could, when you're watching Kaprizov skate on this natural ice, you see just how good of an athlete he is. And he's smiling and enjoying the game. You know, he got a goal, and he was out there enjoying the spectacle. And I hope they all did. It was because it was a spectacle. Yeah.
UND hockey lost a pair of games to Mankato.
Yeah, heartbreakers.
Got a chance to watch on Saturday night. Mankato's a better team right now, hands down.
Yeah.
Mankato is you remember Arkansas with their 40 minutes of hell with their full court pressure?
I do remember that.
This is 60 minutes of hell. That's what it is. I mean, they are not going to let you sit behind the net and diddle-dally and whatever else.
Coming at you, huh?
They're not just bringing one guy. They're bringing 2 guys. So if you're standing behind the net, they're bringing 2 guys. They're going to make you create a turnover, and they're going to try to jump you. The Bulldogs could never. You couldn't get the puck and feel comfortable. That's how good Mankato is. They can put that kind of pressure on, and they've got a goaltender on the back end who keeps things settled. Mankato's going to be tough to beat. Wow. I'm thoroughly impressed. So, I mean, the UMD only lost 2-1 and 3-0, and one of those on the 3 was an empty netter. So, to me, Mankato right now, good hockey. UMD's got St. Cloud State this weekend.
Oh, another brutal.
No easy task there. So, the Bulldogs.
They just beat Bemidji here 2 games in a row. Yeah.
So, anyway, college hockey, like I said, to me, is still what I like to watch when I get a chance and see how it's going. But Minnesota's got Michigan State. We'll see. Minnesota sitting in second in the Big Ten.
Yeah.
They need to make a run, but boy, Michigan's tough too.
Well, they are.
When you got 7 first-rounders on your line, you only got like 20 guys skating, and 7 of them are NHL first-round picks.
Yeah, you got a pretty good team.
You got a pretty good team. So
Yeah.
I'm not trying to make excuses for the Bulldogs because I still believe in the Dogs, but
you knew that about Michigan.
But the thing about the Dogs is they don't really have that sniper. That's somebody who's going to go out and say, "Come on, boys, jump on my back, give me the puck. I'm going to put it in net." There's nobody on that team like that, and they're missing that. And unfortunately, it's just like having a great quarterback. There's not a lot of snipers out there.
There just aren't.
There's not a lot of snipers out there. So. Want to move on to a little basketball?
I watched some last night, kind of.
Well, I watched about 2 minutes right before I went on the air last night. And, that wasn't a good sample size, but apparently Kofi hasn't gotten any worse.
No, in fact, and I have to say this, he's not the smoothest athlete in the world, but 7'1", 285 pounds, and he's really pieced together.
Shaquille O'Neal?
Yeah, he's thinner than the Shaq.
Yeah.
But I think he might shoot a little bit better. But he was tossing he was tossing Curry and Battles and some of the rest of it. Like
I read very briefly about the game.
Yeah.
And they were talking about the fact that the Gophers did not try to double team him.
No.
That they tried to let Curry or whatever, and sometimes maybe they'd have a guard maybe try to come down. But they were not going to double team him and force him the ball out of his hands. I think Ben Johnson regrets that tactic.
Well, I tell you right now, the Gopher players, the Gophers coaching staff, and the Gopher fans all had a big dose of reality about the Big Ten yesterday. And it's just, and when you see this, you know that Iowa's is going to come at you hard. You know that, all these teams, Michigan State.
Michigan got beat by Rutgers last night.
Yeah, isn't it? What happened? What's that about?
Put that on your radar.
Yeah, no, and Rutgers. This is they're like the second game in a row that they won. These guys are, they're playing for keeps. So, maybe the Big Ten's the finest conference in the country. It's last night.
See that if it happens in the NCAA tournament.
Yeah,
you still gotta wait for that.
Yeah.
You might. I think your pick last week, your selection of saying they could win 6 games, sounds pretty healthy.
Well, I'll tell you, Coburn, while he had 29 points, 10 rebounds, and there was nobody able to challenge him in the paint in the slightest way.
That's why I think Ben Johnson's going to say we can't play against a big guy like that. We can't. We got to double team.
Well, and on top of that, a lot of teams, when they double team him, they still have a guy that's guarding the post who's well over 7 feet as well. I mean, they have to match that height with something because, boy, I'll tell you, when he goes to the net, you don't want to be in the way.
I don't want to be in the way.
I don't want to be in the way.
No,
in fact,
I'm not interested in
he dove for the basket and nailed this guy, and they got the guy and warned him for flopping. And I thought, flopping, that's like getting hit by a bus and saying,
You were in the wrong.
You were in the wrong.
You were in the crosswalk, but you were wrong.
What were you doing there? And so you watch that, and you just think, this is men against the boys. Why don't you go upstairs and work on your blues list, and then you can have this on background. And I mean, I was completely motivated to listen to the Blues after watching the Gophers play.
Yeah. I hear you.
Yeah.
How about the Wolves?
The Wolves. I even jotted down some things about the Wolves.
I'm interested in what you jotted down.
I think they are developing a bench. And by this,
keep players out with COVID.
Well, they had to, but they're But I'm thinking of Joel Noel. He's coming off. He's hitting points. He's taking command of the ball, and he's moving around. And I mean, a couple of weeks ago, I wasn't quite sure who this guy was because I had seen him on the think court, but he came off the other day, and he's hitting 12 or 13 points a game, and you got to have that guy coming off the bench. I shouldn't say you have to. It's nice to have.
Nice, really.
It's nice to have.
48 minutes is a long time.
48 minutes in that league, boy, and that court's long.
Yeah. I'll say where do I want to go with this? It's interesting to me that the way the Wolves seem to be on this up and down, whatever. Of course, COVID is playing a part of it, but
it'd be a different division.
How long is Karl Anthony Towns going to be out with this?
Well, I don't know, and that's an issue. But what I like about this team is they're playing Los Angeles, and Los Angeles is making one of their fourth quarter surges, and they're coming. In years past, the Timberwolves would fold up like the proverbial old suit. This time, they got a surge of their own and burst ahead by 18 points. I had not seen this in the Timberwolves team before.
Yeah, and I think the Wolves felt disappointed that they didn't do that to the Lakers the night before.
Yeah.
When they had the chance. They didn't do that down the stretch the night before.
Yeah.
So Anthony Edwards was a big part of that.
He was.
Very poorly against the Lakers.
Yeah.
Gets pulled early in the first quarter because he's not playing defense. And I want to grab the young lad and bring him over and do this to him and say, you're making $12 million a year. You got to play both ends of the floor. Sorry. That's what basically Chris Finch said. He needed to be told,
well,
look, you're either going to play ball or...
And you know this, and there's a lot of people over there that know this a lot better than I. There are people that actually make a living playing defense. And they just, why
being one of them.
Here, why are we putting you on the court? So you can harass all these people, annoy them, go out there and do whatever it is your quick little feet and your nasty little hands can get into, you know, and don't reach. You know, I mean, this is what you got to tell them. That's the kind of, you know, for a while I was hoping that would be the defense that I would see from the Gophers, because I thought, a limited talent, you better come up with something. And I'm still thinking
talent, you got to come up with some junk defenses.
You do.
You got to take them out of their game.
Yes.
You're less talented. That's more the coaching comes into it. You got to find ways.
And I think if you think that you can play a guy like Kofi Coburn without double teaming him, you're not going to win very many basketball games. That's just not going to happen.
Nope, it's not. So, like I said, good lesson I think learned for Ben Johnson early on in the Big Ten season, and hopefully, you know, he'll learn. I have faith that he'll change. He'll get better.
That being said, watching Coburn play was a lot of fun.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
What else?
I got makes wild changes. The Wolves, let's see here. Buddy Banneker. I think I'm pretty much working through my list here.
Okay. Well, it's good.
Yeah. I do have, I've got my sweatshirt on, my new Christmas present.
Nice.
Minnesota Wrestling.
For wrestling. And we had a champion at the Scuffle.
They did have a champion at the Scuffle. They had, I got the statistics. That's
got them right here.
Yeah, Pat
Folks,
McKee.
if you're wondering what I'm doing, I can see in the reflection in the window just beyond the camera, there's curling. And I couldn't see where the curling was, so I had to lean over here. It's on the TV over here. I can see the curling reflected in the window over here. I'm interested. I want to know what curling they have on.
Yeah, it's something. Anyway.
Yeah, let's get back to wrestling.
Yeah, McKee, he's 15-7 overall. And, you know, he's got a tough match this week because they're wrestling Iowa on the 7th. And what's that, Friday night? Friday night at 8 o'clock.
That's on Big Ten?
That's on Big Ten.
Jeez, I think I just found something to fill my Friday evening with.
Yes, I did too. But
dang it, I hate when that happens. I was going to go watch Bronco hockey, but I guess I got a good substitute.
Who do you have?
I get to go watch wrestling.
Oh, yeah, no. Wrestling. The wrestling is going to be very good, and we'll be able to see just where Minnesota is in tops of the Big Ten, because Iowa, they're big.
There's no expectations that the Gophers are going to win it.
No.
But it'll be fun to watch.
They will be, and you know, I don't know who's going to forfeit to, who's going to wrestle Gable, but you know, I was out at the shop the other day, and so I had this shirt on, and the kids said, "Oh, that's that Gable guy." And you know, wrestling's not big up here anymore, but everybody all these kids know who Gable Steveson is, and it's just like I thought, he has that kind of charisma that pretty soon they'll all watch WWE, and he'll be throwing people all over the place, and they'll think that, you know, I knew him when.
Yes.
Oh, I will be watching. There's no doubt about that.
All right, so we made predictions on football.
Yes.
I think we talked hockey, basketball. Dan Reeves passes away, head coach for the Denver Broncos for many years.
Remarkably enough, I remember when he was a player with Dallas. And
now I don't remember. That's a little before just a hair before.
And he was one of those running backs that could really catch the ball. He was kind of a utility running back, but he was very, very good, tough as nails, and you know, kind of a John Lynch type character, only on offense. But yeah, Dan Reeves was with Don Meredith and that crew. But yeah, and he had one of those. I think he was originally from Texas, but he had one of those Texas drawls, and I just loved it when they interviewed him on you know, about all his games that he coached and stuff. Yeah, he was a good one.
And Betty White, 99, just couldn't make her.
No,
couldn't hang on to the 100. Thought she was going to make it.
I'm going to tell you, you know, I was 25 or 30 years too young, but I could have loved that woman. She was absolutely amazing, and you hear about the sense of humor that she had, and she would pull corny tricks all the time and just laugh her butt off. I do remember Alan Landon, and he did quiz shows and stuff like that, and he would have her on once in a while, and they would just laugh and giggle. They were like they were dating, and they'd been married for years and years, you know. So, a great lady.
Yeah, it's a tough loss. But,
yeah.
Anyway, anything else?
Can't think. Miller time?
No, it's go to Rainy River basketball time.
Oh.
Tim's doing the stats tonight, so.
Oh.
Women's game starts in 1 hour and 1 minute, so I think I need to get my buns on the road and get this camera to Darcy, and then get over and get a little work done.
We'll do it again next week.
We'll do it again next week. Thanks, everybody.